Hello everybody, this is David Blair, the Crosshairs Trader, and this is Wednesday, September the 15th, 2010. You know, there's been a lot of talk recently about gold breaking out, gold's overbought, gold's getting ready to blast off, all different kinds of opinions. We Crosshairs traders in our weekly webinars have been discussing gold for quite some time and waiting for potential opportunity. We do not form an opinion on gold. The reason we do not is because we do not have enough money to move the gold market. We're simply going to trade with it. That's our line of thought, and we think that way with all of our trading, and we're going to think that way with gold. And there's several things to consider when we look at whether or not we're going to trade what I'm going to talk about in this video, either the GDX, which is the Gold Miners ETF, or one particular stock within the GDX, which is AEM. So we're going to look at both of these charts. And what we do is we anticipate two possible scenarios, either a bullish trade or a bearish trade. And so let's start with GDX. GDX, start with the daily chart. I use TradeStation. This is where I have my crosshairs indicator programmed. But when we look at GDX, we realize that we've had a strong move for the past several weeks, since basically the middle of July. And we've been watching for the last few weeks this resistance area here that the GDX has hit several times. It has pulled back and busted through that. So there's two ways to trade GDX right now. You could either go ahead and be in this trade or wait for a possible pullback, which it actually pulled back today and touched that green support line. But then we have to keep in mind a couple of resistance areas. So my green lines are my support areas, red lines resistance areas. These resistance areas, even though now we've broken some resistance on the daily, at least for now, I also look at a bigger chart, and that is the weekly chart, and we have a resistance zone from the weekly. And let's take a look at the weekly, and you can see what I'm referring to. And this is something we have to be mindful of. This is a resistance area on the weekly chart that goes all the way back to March 2008, and you can see that right here. When gold and GDX reached this high back in March of 2008 is when there was a hard sell-off. We actually had a bearish crosshair back in July of 2008. Tanked very hard, and then we had back in April of last year, we had a bullish crosshair, took us all the way up back to this resistance area, and then we sold off again, back down. We found some support here and started heading back up. Now what we've been watching is, what is gold going to do right here? What is the GDX going to do right here? Okay, so let's go back to our daily chart. Here's what we've been discussing. If the GDX does the same thing here as it's done here and here, then this same pattern has set up, and we could potentially have a down trade, but we're going to have to wait for that to happen to see if that's exactly what's going to happen. We don't know that yet. The other scenario is if the GDX, instead of selling off like it has done here and here, if the GDX consolidates here, or if this is determined to be the consolidation and it starts moving up, it has broken this pattern that it's had for several months. If that pattern is broken, then we may be off to the races on the GDX. So you can be in this trade with the understanding that you may want to get out if it hits this resistance area and doesn't seem to want to go anywhere, or you can wait, let it consolidate and take off. Or if you get into this trade now, you're up some money, especially if you're trading some options. But in the consolidation area, if you hold on to your trade, it doesn't reverse and continues to move forward, then you can add to your position. You know, losers are the ones who add to losing positions. Winners are the ones who add to winning positions. That's our take on the GDX. I have no opinion about it. I'm not going to say whether it's overbought, whether it's getting ready to take off. We're going to see shortly if it's going to continue this pattern or if it's going to break that pattern and have another big, huge run. Okay? That's what we're watching. So let's take a look at AEM. Here's AEM's daily chart. AEM, of course, has mirrored the GDX. We've had some resistance area here, and then it broke through this resistance and is breaking through it. I've got a red and a green line here because you never know. It could sell off today and be back below it. But this is an area that is telling us that this pattern could be broken. If that pattern is broken, then we're possibly going to be able to trade this all the way up to the 72 area, which is our weekly resistance. Let's take a look at our weekly resistance on the weekly chart. And you can see where there's been several crosshairs going all the way back to 08. We had a bullish one, a bearish one up at resistance. As this has consolidated, we had a bearish one, and now we've got a bullish one breaking out of this consolidation. Here's our resistance area that goes back to October of last year and July of the year before. This is the weekly chart. So if AEM can continue its push forward and not fall back like it has been doing, and if that pattern is broken, we're looking for a possible resistance level not until 72 in that area, and then after that a bigger resistance level up at 80. A crosshair on the weekly chart has the potential to last for weeks to months. So there's several opportunities within that to trade on an intraday or a daily chart. And that's what I'm seeing on GDX and in particular AEM. What can it do right here? Will it break this pattern? And if it does, how much money can we possibly make on that trade? If it stays and consolidates even more, it could have an even faster and bigger run. That's my take on GDX, AEM, and all the gold talk. If you want to contact me, you can do so at david@thecrosshairstrader.com. Be glad to have you join me at my blog. Inquire about the members-only webinars that I hold twice weekly. If you're interested in those, just email me, and I'll be glad to send you some information. Have a wonderful day.